Good morning, students. So in previous classes we discussed about chapter number 1 under the statistics for economics, that was introduction. So up to yesterday what I have given, that was the notes for the first chapter. In the first chapter we observed only 4 marks. Remaining chapters we can observe 6 marks also, even including match the following. Okay, you should keep 2 separate notebooks, like each minimum 200 pages. One for statistics for economics, another one is Indian economic development. And you should write syllabus compulsory in the first page of notebook, both. Okay, so now we are going to start second chapter of statistics for economics. First chapter it was very small, so like second chapter a little big, more than that one, third chapter, fourth chapter, like this only it will be continuous, like big only. Okay, second chapter is collection of data. In first chapter only I explained statistics is it's a collection of data, presentation of data, index numbers, dispersion, like this we have to discuss completely under the statistics. Okay, statistics is nothing but it's a numerical explanation. Statistics is a numerical explanation. Statistics, it is a tool which is helpful to the understand the problem, and through that only we can solve the problem. We can understand, because we have to calculate we have to check we have to collect the economic problems. So to solve the economic problems, first we have to collect through the numbers. So they are called as economic facts. When the economic problems are calculated in terms of numbers, that time they are called as economic facts. Okay, so these economic facts, which definitely will helpful to the know the problems, identify the problems, and how much problem is there. Okay, through that only we can try to provide the remedies, try to solve the problems. So through the help of statistics we can understand the problems. First you have to list out the problems. So that's why in the previous chapter we discussed about the introduction. Now we have to discuss about the chapter number 2, collection of data. To understand the economic problem, or to understand the economic facts, we have to collect. First we have to collect the information. First we have to collect the data. Data is nothing but statistical tool. Data is nothing but statistical tool which helps to the understand the problems and provide the solution of problems. Okay, data, like it is also pronounced like data. Okay, so collection of data. Okay, so this data will helpful to the understand the problem, and with the help of this data we can try to solve the problems. Which problems? Economic problems. So in this chapter we have to discuss meaning of variables, then what are the methods to collect data. So what is the meaning of data? What are the methods to calculate of data, like primary data, secondary data? So what are that under the primary data and secondary data? So what are the methods and what are the advantages, what are the disadvantages? Everything we will discuss in this chapter. Okay, so first we have to discuss in this chapter, it is nothing but collection of data. Means collection of data is helpful to the understand the problems. How we can understand the problems? Through the help of through the collection of data. Without collecting the data, how we can solve the problems? How we can identify? How we can calculate? Okay, how we can list out? That's why first we have to collect the data. Data means information. It is nothing but information only. You have to collect the information. So what happened? What is going on? How much is there? Okay, so that is only. For example, something happened there on the coming, while coming from home to college. That time something happened, like an accident. What happened? We have to collect the information. Information like what happened, what about the accident? How many are injured? Okay, how many are coming in, like what about the vehicles, whether four-wheeler, whether two-wheeler, because how many are riding in two-wheeler, how many are coming in four-wheeler, so who's the fault, okay, who's coming like which way, these are all, what are these, how many are injured, how many are hospitalized, everything we have to collect, that is called as information. So without collecting the information, it is not possible to tell any topic, it is not possible to explain, it is not possible to solve the problem. Without understand the problem, we cannot solve that one. So that's why first we have to collect the information about the problem. So what is going on, what is happening, what happened, so that is only we have to understand in this chapter, that is collection of data. Collection of data. So this chapter will explain sources of data and mode of data collection. This chapter will explain sources of data, that is while collecting the information, how we can collect it, that is through primary, that is secondary, that is only sources of data. So which way we can collect the information, which way we can collect the data, okay, so that is we have to understand, or we should study in this chapter sources of data and mode of data collection. In this chapter we have to discuss sources of data and mode of data collection. Okay, how we can what are the sources to collect of information, collect the data, and which mode we have to collect the data, that is only we have to discuss in this chapter. So firstly we have to discuss variables. So these are very important. In name only it is there, variables, which can vary. When the values are changing, when the numbers are changing, when the numbers are keeps changing without continuous, if the numbers are changing, if the values are changing, they are called as variables. The first topic is variable. You have to understand simple information. Variables means those values which are changing. Those values which are changing, which are keeping changing. For example, 1, 3, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10. Okay. So here there is no continuation. That means these are called as variables. Variables nothing but those which are keeps changing. So those values which are keeps changing, they are called as variables. So that is we can understand easily variables. For example, the food production of India at the time of 1991, 100 tons. Okay. 1992, 200 tons. Which one? The food production of India in the year of 1991, 100 tons. In the year of 1990, 200 tons. In the year of 1999, 250 tons or 350 tons. 350 tons, towns, 100 tons, 200 tons, 350 tons. Like a million tons, we can imagination, million tons. In the year of 2005, it was 800 million tons. 800 million tons. Okay. In the year of 2007, 1000 million tons. Like this. Okay. So this is not in the way of continuous. Actually, the variables can be explained in the form of letters, that is A, B, C, or X, Y, Z, or E, F, G, like this only. Okay. Through this way only we can express the variables. For example, this one, so the same information. For example, X, this is called as year. Y, this is called as food production. Food production, that is in million tons. Okay, this is Y. Food production, that is in million tons. This is here, just imagination, the same information we can express with the help of variable. Year 1991, 1992, 1999, 2005, 2007. Food production in million tons, that is 100, 200, 350, 800, then 1000. Okay, this is called as variables. Each value of variable called as observation. Each value of variables called as observation. Don't forget, each value of variables are called as observation. Don't forget. So we are discussing about variables, those values which are keeps changing. Okay, those which values are always changing, they are called as variables. In name only it is there, varies. The values are varying. These are called as variables. Okay, so in this chapter we are going to discuss about collection of data. Under that, just now I explained about variables. So variables means those values which are changing. Those values which are changing, they are called as variables. So each value of variables are called observation. Each value of the variable is called or is an observation. Okay, so this is the example of variables. There is no continuation. So here values are changing, even years also changing, even food production like quantity also changing. This is called as, what is that? Variables. Okay. So as you know that data or data, without data or without data we cannot explain or we cannot understand, we cannot provide the solution of economic problems. That's why we have to discuss what is the meaning of data or data. Okay. See, data is a tool. It is a tool which helps in understanding problems, by providing information. Providing information. Okay, this is the meaning of data. See, data is a tool, the statistical tool only. Data is a statistical tool which helps in understanding problems, by providing information or by collecting the information. By collecting the information and providing the information. So that is called only data. So in this data, especially there are two important sources. So one is primary data. Second one is secondary data. So under this we have to discuss what are the primary data, how we can collect the information like primarily, how we can collect the information in the secondary. That is there are so many methods. So about that we have to discuss. Under the methods, like again we have to discuss what are the advantages of methods, what are the disadvantages of methods, which are better, how you can collect the information with the help of these sources. Okay, primary data, secondary. These are called as sources of data. Sources of data. Okay, in next class we will discuss about the primary data, about the secondary data. In this class, just we discussed about meaning of variables and introduction about the collection of data. How to provide any solution of problem. First we have to collect the data. Without data, that is information. It is nothing but information. Without information, we cannot solve the problems. We cannot list out the problems. We cannot explain the problems. That's why first, whatever the problem we have to, before providing the solution or before providing the remedies, first we have to collect the information, what is going on. So that is very important. That information is nothing but data. So that is only how we can collect the data. What are the methods to collect the data? What are the methods to collect the data? That is only we have to understand, we have to discuss, we have to study in this chapter. So remaining I will explain in next class. Thank you.